What's up, people? It's Paul back again with a free content video for real estate, and today I want to talk about appraisals, okay? And also something that typically kind of goes along with appraisal is an inspection. All right. So these are two things that you're going to hear whenever you go to buy a home. One is going to be ordered from the lender, one is going to be ordered from the buyer typically. So we're going to talk about inspections and appraisals. All right. So I guess we'll start with inspection. So whenever somebody goes to buy a house, there is the option period, which I covered on another video. So you get into this little period in the beginning of the contract that gives the buyer the option to basically look over the house, and that's when they would send a professional inspector in to inspect the home. Okay, and so they're gonna fine-tooth comb, look over the home, check all the plumbing, HVAC, any kind of electrical, all the big things in a house, and make sure that that house is properly equipped for the purchase. And if anything's wrong, the inspector will list that on his checklist, right? And so that is the inspection. And this is typically purchased by the buyer. And this comes in the option period because this inspection report gives the buyer the option to basically ask the seller to, hey, we take a look at this stuff and I want you to either get these things fixed before I buy this home, or we can come up with a number that you take off of the price of the house to make up for these things that I'm going to have to fix now as the buyer, right? So the inspection is super simple. Typically, it can be done in a few hours. A professional will come out, do the inspection, and then they'll write up a report. You'll have it all listed out on paper. And that's always going to typically happen within that option period in the beginning of a contract, okay? The next thing is the appraisal. And the appraisal is going to come from the lender, okay? And the reason this comes from the lender is, let's say you're going to buy a house for $675. Right? The home is listed for $675. The lender is going to lend you that money, right? That's why you're going to get the loan for the home. The lender needs to know that the house is actually worth $675. Okay? So the lender will get an appraiser to go and appraise the property value to make sure that the money that they're lending matches the current value of the house. You understand? And so these are both super important, especially in the beginning, throughout kind of the midway point of the contract. A lot of times, this can throw a contract off, of course, because if the seller is not willing to negotiate, let's say the buyer wants a new roof because the roof is in bad shape, right? And the seller's like, no, I'm not doing it. Then at that point, the buyer can walk away from the transaction, get his earnest money back, but it was all due to the inspection, right? They didn't have all that information until the house was inspected. And also, on this side of things, on the appraisal, if the home comes in valued that is not matching up correctly, then the lender could actually pull out of the transaction and say, no, I'm not going to lend you the money for that home. And so these are super important. They're just parts to the contract and to the whole transaction. So again, inspections and appraisals. I know you've heard the word, of course. If you've bought a house before, you know exactly what this is. But if you haven't bought a house, then this is kind of the process. for both of these words and how they affect the real estate transaction. And so that's it. That's it for today. I'm gonna come up with something for next Friday, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So until then, I will see you guys later.